All right, today we're going to dive into a text that's more than 2,000 years old, but it has this powerful warning that is aimed squarely at our modern world. You know, the world of personal brands and social media. It's all about the massive difference between truly being something and just performing it for an audience.
And what's so wild is that in the oldest version of the Tao Te Ching we've ever found, these Ma Wangdu silk texts, this chapter, chapter 38, is actually page 1. It comes first. I mean, just imagine that. The scribes put this warning right at the front door, as if they were saying, hey, hold on. Before you go any further, you absolutely must understand this.
So what this chapter does is it lays out what you could call the Great Descent. It's like a cascade or a waterfall, a journey that starts in a place of pure, authentic, internal alignment and ends up in a world of external, rigid, and ultimately pretty empty performance. And here is the roadmap for that whole journey. The text lays it out as this downhill slope, moving from the silent, can't put it into words way, down through these different stages. And the key idea here, right, is that each step down is basically a consolation prize for having lost the one right before it. Each one gets a little louder, a little more obvious, and a little bit further from the source.
The chapter kicks off with this really beautiful contrast. Upstream alignment is so natural it doesn't even need a name for itself. It just dances without forcing. Think about a musician who's just completely lost in the music, or an athlete in the zone. There's no because. But then you get downstream, and suddenly you're gripping it, terrified to let it slip away. And that's the trap, isn't it? The very moment you start trying not to lose it is the exact moment you've already lost it.
Now, this is where it gets really cool. The character for Da itself, we often translate it as virtue, but that's not quite right. It's not about being a good person for show. Just look at the parts. You've got a foot on a path, a straight, unflinching gaze, and the heart. It's a picture of total, unfaked integrity. Your foot, your eye, and your heart are all pointed in the exact same direction. Nobody's faking anything for anyone. Okay, so we take one step down that slope, we lose that perfect self-alignment, and we get Ren, or togetherness. And again, the character tells the story. It's a person in the number 2. It's just two people standing shoulder to shoulder. It's not some grand, top-down idea of benevolence. This is still an authentic action. Your neighbor's roof is leaking, you go help them. You just do it. You haven't started building a big story about why you're a good person for doing it, yet.
And then, the descent gets a little darker. The character for E, which often gets translated as righteousness, is literally a picture of my sheep on my blade. I mean, think about that. It's sheep sacrifice. This is where actions start having a reason, a because. I'm doing this because it's expected of me, because it makes me look good. It's the performative charity donation, the networking that just feels totally transactional. It has the smell of blood and burning fat, as the source material says.
And that brings us all the way to the bottom of the pile, Li, or altar rites. The text says when the ritual happens and nobody has that natural, gut-level, hawk-like response, that's when force takes over. Someone rolls up their sleeves and makes you comply. This is bureaucracy for bureaucracy's sake, the pointless meeting, the rule that has no purpose anymore but is enforced anyway. It's this really violent image where authenticity is officially dead and compulsion is all that's left.
So to really feel the tragedy of this whole descent, we have to appreciate how beautiful it is at the very top. So let's go back upstream. The ancient Taoist writers were absolute masters of storytelling, and they gave us these incredible, almost cinematic scenes of what this effortless upstream state actually looks like.
First up, you've got Wheelwright Bayan. He's in his workshop, doing his thing, while his boss, the Duke, is up on a balcony reading some dusty old book by the sages. And Bayan, he just calls it like he sees it. He basically tells the Duke, you know what you're reading? The leftovers, the dregs. The real skill, the living, breathing knowledge is in his hands. The second you try to write it down to preserve it, to not lose it, it's gone. All you have are the dregs.
And then there's the masterful cook Ding. After 19 years of butchering oxen, his knife is still as sharp as the day he got it. I mean, how is that even possible? Well, it's because he isn't just hacking away at bones. He's not following an anatomy textbook. No, his hand and the animal have come to an understanding that exists way deeper than language. This is dancing without forcing in action. He's not trying to teach a lesson. He was just cutting meat with a skill so profound it looked like pure magic.
So what happens when we're living our whole lives downstream, in that world of rules and performing? The text gives us two really powerful metaphors for this state of being. The first red flags that things have gone wrong.
The text says that Li, those alter rights, are the head of tangled threads. Now this is so crucial. The rigid rules aren't the cause of the disorder, they are the first symptom of it. You know, when a company gets completely bogged down in procedure and protocol, it's a giant flashing sign that the natural, easy flow of good work has already been lost.
There's a story from the Laisi that just captures this perfectly. A man from Song was so obsessed with getting his ritual bowing right for a banquet that he practiced it over and over and over. By the time he arrived, his form was flawless and completely, utterly empty. He was a perfect shell with nothing inside, kind of like an elevator pitch that's been rehearsed so many times it's lost all its meaning.
Okay, the second sign of disorder is what the text calls you, or foolishness. And again, the character tells the whole story. It's a picture of a monkey right underneath the heart. And this isn't about being unintelligent, not at all. It's about having a monkey heart, that restless, chattering, clever mind that's always just jumping from branch to branch.
And this monkey-heartedness is linked to foreknowing by the marks, which is basically just a fancy way of saying pattern recognition. Think about our modern obsession with analytics, stock predictions, and political forecasting. The text says this is the flowering of the way. It's showy, it's impressive, but it's also the point where the plant stops bearing actual fruit. It's the beginning of foolishness.
This idea is all wrapped up in this amazing story. There was a powerful shaman who could predict a person's exact date of death just by reading their face. But when a Taoist master showed him the state before the ancestor, the unformed, chaotic potential from which everything arises, the shaman ran away in terror. Because all that foreknowledge, it can only read the flowers, the existing patterns. It's terrified by the deep, unreadable root. So, after this entire descent, from the effortless way all the way down to compulsive ritual and this monkey-hearted cleverness, the chapter leaves us with a very clear, very powerful choice.
It all boils down to this fundamental choice. A full-grown person, as the text calls them, learns to consciously walk away from that and stay with this. They choose what is thick and deep over what is thin and flimsy. They choose the solid, the actual goods, the real skills, over the flowering, the showy performance, the perfectly padded resume.
And this choice, this is the final takeaway. This is what it means to be an adult in this worldview. It's about choosing substance over performance, authenticity over appearance, the felt reality over the carefully constructed image. You walk away from the noise and you take what is real.
And so, the text really just leaves us with this question to sit with. In a world that is constantly asking us to perform, to present the flowering version of ourselves, our work, and our lives, where are we choosing that instead of staying with what is solid, what is real, what is thick? It's a choice that really defines the substance of our lives.